look, maybe you weren't asking for too much, you know? Maybe you weren't asking for too much. Maybe you weren't being too demanding. Maybe you were just asking to be seen, you know? Like to actually be considered for once and not to constantly have to explain why you're in pain. And in reality, that's not too much, you know? You've been tricked into believing that that's too much when in reality it's not. It's just basic intimacy. It's just basic intimacy. But if he couldn't meet you there, that's not because you're wrong, you know? That's because he hasn't met himself there. As much as he puts on this tough persona or whatever, he hasn't met himself there. So he makes you feel guilty for wanting the shit that love is supposed to be. And that shit he may gaslight you into believing that you're asking for too much. But you're not asking for too much. You know, when you're asking just to be seen, to be met, to be cared for, to be listened, to be heard, that's not too much. But the issue is that you're asking someone who doesn't have anything to give. Because they're unable to give that shit to themselves. They're unable to give that shit to themselves. And you have to learn that that's not your shame to carry. That's not your burden to carry. That's not your problem to constantly try to figure, to constantly solve for them. They have to solve that shit for themselves. And you have to realize what your actual worth is.